Hi, I'm Natalie D'Adamio. Um, I'm an artist. Among many other things, I would say I'm a creative, I love writing as much as like making art, and love like dreaming into what's possible, and bringing creativity and imagination back to the center of creation at this time. Like that's a big interest of mine, and it happens through the artwork, and it happens through all the creative pursuits. So although I say I'm like an artist and a painter, I'm also a creative, so that like widens the lens a little bit, because it's not just painting, but there's many things that benefits that come from painting, right? And drawing. It's also very experimental and raw, and not, I would say, not traditional. I did not take the traditional path to return to art making. My life was not traditional by any means. I've taken the like opposite road of the mainstream world, and that has caused like a lot of dilemmas and confusion at time for me. Also because I was such a shy and sensitive shutdown child, and I grew up kind of chaotically. I had to learn how to like separate everything out. Over a decade or so ago, I stepped on the healing path. I started with Reiki, became a Reiki master, and studied shamanism and still do. So that all like interweaves and like interconnects into the work and into what I have to offer, teach, and speak upon. For a long time, though, I was afraid of that. Actually, I think I still doubt it, if I'm being honest right now. But what I've noticed right now for the energy of these times and what's informing me is that I can't really hide or hold back this energy that's present with me. The thing is, I've tried to hide before in the artworks, but like funny enough, I noticed the more and more I made the art that I couldn't really hide in the art, because it just starts to like show you who you are and what you love. Especially if you're showing up daily to your practice, you're going to like move yourself in and out of a lot of places. That's been quite the journey up to this point. So the reason why I'm making this video is because I'm restarting this YouTube channel. I mean, I took a little break, but I was trying to determine like what is it for me, and really listen to myself, because it is painting and drawing and all of that, the art part, but there's also these whole other sides to me, the energetic and the emotional and the sensitive and the empathic and the intuitive, and they all want to be present now. So that means speaking into these other things that have been like needling me and have informed my journey. It's actually the reason why I'm the artist that I am, are all those life experiences. But like, how can I teach, or offer the guidance if I can't like be fully present with who I am and how it is and what it was for me and what it still is? Do you know what I mean? Oftentimes we kind of like try to push those parts away or deny it. And they're not always necessarily negative. Sometimes they're like really positive things, but because we don't see it out there, or we're holding our own fear and hesitation and insecurity around it, we don't really move into it. And ironically, that's also what I help people with in my one-to-one coaching, is like how to move through those fears and blocks, and how to not and become fully present with all of it, not just like in the artworks, but in our lives and in whatever your creative endeavors are, because it's challenging and multifaceted, and there's a lot of moving parts going on, whether you're going to return to your art or a creative pursuit, or just like desire to become you without all the like stuff that goes with it. I know it sounds silly, like, what do you mean become me? But when you're not living fully into your, like, I think authentic self, or at least this is what I noticed for me, is that's when like the resentment and the weird stuff builds up, and then it's mainly because I'm just not turning towards what it is, out of my own fear and insecurity, and that's how I noticed it for me to be. But it's just important for me to like change the direction of these videos, and what I want to speak into, because it all informs the artist that I am, right? So for a long time I've been kind of like unsure or afraid or holding or hiding. And you know, I during this year's 100-day project that I did on May 1st, I made a video called like No More Hiding or Holding, and I think everything was in that video, like the emotional, the spiritual, the energetic, the truths of like that flow through me that make me the artist that I am. And I just realized like I can't really hold back anymore, because it's like more damaging to me, and then I'm not living fully into what I know to be true for myself. So like I want to be able to honor that in myself as I like move forward and make this work. And it's more than just the painting. It's like this whole creative community of connection and color and light and sensitivity and empathic intuition. And it's like my story of how I even got to be here, and sharing more of those intimate details in order to help like all of us, including myself, like sustain us during these times, right? So you know, it's just, there's an interest of mine to like just unwind it all, and kind of rewind the story. I think when we can be fully present with all of it, including the hard stuff and the good stuff and all of it, you know, it's all informing the big creative dance of creation. You know, we can like open wider to what's possible, you know, and align to that divine within, you know. And that can have many names, you know. It's not limited, it's unlimited, it's vast, it's limitless, you know. So besides this channel being about process and practice, it's also about energy and emotion, and like conversations that are the harder conversations to have. That is part of my interest. So is to bring out like the stuff and bring it into the light of and that's how we have more awareness and more reflection, and there's like a direct connection. And that's the gift, right? The gift is in creation itself, whether it's a painting or just our expression and our fullness, and without having to hide or hold or shut down or run away. And those are really hard things to do, and I know that because I'm an expert at running away and hiding. But you know, ironically, the artwork is the thing that has been the facilitator for me to come out into myself. Over the last 5 years, I've been working really hard, and the artwork keeps informing me and keeps teaching me of what it means to be fully present with myself at all times, in all emotional states, in all energetic states. And that is really, it's a really powerful healing tool to have, like a creative practice, to have an art practice, to show up daily and like see what's there, to be willing to take yourself somewhere, and you know, not always know where you're going. So any kind of act is like art too. We're always kind of in this artful dance of creation and trying to find our way, and oftentimes we get lost. So we need each other in the process to remind us, you know, like, and remind ourselves that there is this valid potential to creativity, and there's this imagination and creation energy that wants to be here now, that is here now, and it can help sustain us during these times when we turn deeper towards ourselves and move into like our fullest expressions, not just in art but life. And that is what I'm excited about, and that is what I've worked so hard over like the last decades and the last 5 years, not just in the artwork, but in like my own like beingness. And the universe has shown me many things, and at times it's been very challenging. And you know, some of the darkest times have eventually become the most rewarding times, but I didn't always see it during that like implosion or destruction. So I went through a deep loss of identity, a spiritual emergence, and that's how the art returned. And that's a really important part to my story of being an artist. And the other things that what is interesting to me right now is like bringing out all the sides. You know, it's not just any one side. It's silly, it's weird, it's strange, it's beautiful, it's light, it's intense, it's raw, it's expressive, it's honest. You know, there's all of these things that are informing the art, but it's also informing like the direction of where I'm called to go and what I'm called to speak into at this time, and what I'm called to help others with as well, you know? So it's like it's important to just have these honest reflections, so we can learn that it's just part of the journey, all of those pieces, including the hard pieces, including the trauma, including the abuses. I'm not saying those are like great things. What I'm saying is, though, if you've ever lived through stuff like that, which I have, and you can like overcome those moments, you know, you find the light on the other side of all that darkness. And we can like focus on and cultivate the creation energy and what's positive about it all. Even in the negative stuff, we can still learn to find ourselves again through the creative process, through the art process, through the vulnerable expression and the intimate sharing and the connection. So there's this like ability to move through all of it, learn to hold it gently, and not always take it all on, right? That's the one big thing. It's really important to do, because it's easy to get polarized and like get into that fight with ourselves and with each other. But what happens when we surrender and just look? You know, art making is a lot about noticing like your internal feeling states, and noticing the external, what inspires you, what lights you up, what motivates you to even create or to like pick up, you know, the pen or the brush. And it's really a rewarding process, but it also has its like fears and you know, points in the journey of like opening. Usually when you're hitting into those pockets of fear, there's like, you know, the treasure is underneath that. So it's like learning how to dig into it, and like move through it and that's how, when we do that in an artwork, we also start doing that in our lives, you know. So my story is too, I didn't always want to be here, and so I have reference points for all that, you know, what it is to like be in that complete pain and misery and distress for a big portion of my childhood and, you know, the first few decades. And so stepping on the healing path over a decade or so ago, I never knew the art would return, but I always knew I was an artist. It was always peeking in and out throughout my life. It's just I was always the one to give up on myself just because I wasn't painting that masterpiece right away, or I had a lot of comparisonitis issues, which is easy to have. But ultimately, what I've learned over the last 5 years is you can really take yourself somewhere on your own. That's why I love 100-day project, because if you can commit 100 days to something, you'll become your own teacher in the process, and you'll move past your own fears and blocks, and it will change every time, and you'll never be the same from that. And no one can give you that, only you can give that to yourself. Many people can help guide us though, but ultimately we have to take ourselves to where we really want to go, and to listen deeper down into that inner knowing, and learn how to trust all of that. And that's what the creative practice and process is in life, right? Learning how to love and open and trust more of what we're just really interested in, and it's not going to be the same for everyone, right? So then that's also where we can tend to get shut down, because it's not looking the same, or it's not garnishing the same results or whatever. But there's a lot of internal results that can happen in the creative process that don't really get the spotlight, but are so crucial to life. So my interest is in this channel is making it more robust with all of those, adding in my story more, and how I feel about the energy of these times, and adding in the energetic and the intuitive, because that's what I have a lot of history in, and that's what informs my art, my shamanic practice, my spiritual practice. It is multidimensional for me, and I always saw the artist as a receiver, a channel, an intuitive expression that just flows through us, whether that's in words or paint or whatever it may be, dance. It's all about that expression and living into that center of creation and finding that light within, and I'm celebrating that. And I think art really teaches us that. At least that's how I see it. There's so many different ways to create and connect, and but the one thing too is after I spent the last couple years working on my deep abandonment and rejection issues, I realized I just don't want to reject myself anymore in the process. So all of that stuff that I was afraid of, the weird stuff, the stuff from my past, the stuff that I kind of was hiding because I don't know how does it fit into this or that or that. But I really just want to let that all go, I just don't want to try to fit into anything. I just want to be in it. And that's the difference. And it sounds simple, but it feels like it's been complex to get to that understanding. And it feels like it's taken 42 years to understand that it isn't for everyone. The resonance, the deepness, the intuitive sensing joy of creation. Maybe we're not all interested in expressing that, and oftentimes people will say you don't have to express it all, but what if you want to? So that's the other thing, is if you're feeling the desire, but you take it on someone else's story or someone else's fear or insecurity, and you took that in, it's time to set those boundaries and release that, and move into those deeper expressions that are calling you and me forward at this time, and that's also what I help people align with and guide them into, is going into those places and spaces that so you don't have to fear everything that's here, and you can be more you in the process, and that goes into your artwork or your whatever creative endeavor you're doing, when you can be fully more you and like look at all of the sides and just admit like this is what it is for you. And that's what I'm doing in this video, and I'm trying to explain that this is the direction that I'm moving in, and I don't really know what's going to happen, but I know that I can't like really like leave it alone. I need to move into it because there's something there, and you know, it does scare me. And they always say the thing that scares you, you should move deeper into. It's not always easy to do in a painting or in our life, you know. And this is me just kind of like claiming and like owning that direction, and also letting you know, because if you're not interested anymore, that's okay. I finally understand that that's okay. You know, there's a resonance and an energy that needs to come around me and is with me and is for other people. And if I live more fully into that, then that seems like the right direction to go. So I don't have to like pretend that it isn't what it is, you know. I'm tired of pretending. I don't know about you, but and that's what it is, getting to the like heart of the matter and getting to more of the truths in our creative work, our work in our lives. And so there'll be a lot more like process and practice videos on here. Energy, mindset, motivation, that's like gonna be a thing. And more like intimate sharing and vulnerable expression, and peeling back that curtain to like, and just like say what it is. Even when it's hard, you know. I think that's the most important part, is that it isn't always shiny and perfect, right? There's like a lot of hard parts, and I'm interested in like exposing that part, because I think when you bring something to light and you shine a light on that, it softens things, and it makes it okay, you know what I mean, and for you to stay in your journey and me to stay in mine, and to realize that, you know, there isn't any like, I don't know, one right answer. There's many answers and many paths and many ways to return to ourselves and our creative work and our lives, and there's many ways. And I think that's it. This is just my way. This is how it happened. This is what it is. This is how I return to being the artist that I am. This is what informs me daily. And this is what I'd like to express more of, not just in the artwork, but in my life, and help others move into the fuller expressions of themselves in the same time. So I'm Natalie D'Adamio. My website is currently getting rebuilt, but you can find me on Instagram at natalie.d'adamio.art. You could always DM me there. You could hit subscribe to this channel if you like the direction that it's gonna go. Yeah, you could stick around and see what happens, because I don't really know. I'm just trying to take that tiny step forward, and it's kind of like scary, and but it has to be done. And that's one thing I know. So thank you for being here, and thanks for all your support, and keep creating and stay tuned, see what happens next.